Okay, welcome back to Hypnosis Everywhere, and we're here with Lance Baker. And I was just thinking that, I do have another podcast that's been built with Rick Collingwood, who's also in Australia. It seems to be the mesmerism capital of the world at the time. At least that's all I know. So, you know Rick too, right? Because you've all worked together in the past.
Yeah. Rick was actually one of my introductions to hypnosis. I've trained with him quite in depth. I taught at his school for a while. He's got some fantastic knowledge. I'm really looking forward to
Yes.
actually hearing that podcast.
Mm,
He did one on Jason's show as well.
okay.
But there's only a few of us that I know of in the world that teach
Okay.
mesmerism. So yeah, having two in the one country is
I know.
is fairly big.
So is there some but other people that do that?
Yeah, there's Marco Pere in France
Okay.
and Lee Gerard Barlow in UK, and he works
Oh,
out of
okay. I
Marco
didn't know
School as
about
well in
either of
France.
those.
Yeah,
So, so four people that are known to teach mesmerism.
it could
So
be more,
there could be
but
more,
they're the
but
only ones
that's
I want
only
to have
what
a
that one
focus.
you know.
It's them, myself.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So I think mesmerism is wholly interesting because at one time, I did talk with Rick Collingwood a little bit about this. Is one time we were talking about um, James Esdale.
Hmm.
And initially when we talked about the Esdale state, many of us, I've talked about it before, is a state where you could stop bleeding, you could do have pain control, all those things without drugs. And that was created by him in about 10 or 12 days with mesmerism, that state.
Yes, depending on who he worked with. Some
Mm-hmm.
people it'd be a lot quicker
Would it?
than it would be because it depended on the nationalities of how open to energy they were,
I was
of
just
how
going to say
quick it
that
worked.
all because what he was working with was in Calcutta, in the prison system, right?
Yeah, uh, much better results there than when he went back to Europe.
Yes,
He found he had to work a lot longer.
because for one thing, they were highly motivated.
Yes.
And the second thing, their belief systems were more open.
Yeah. Uh, but he would have his assistants to do the passes and
Yes.
get them ready first over a few days beforehand so that when he went to operate,
Yeah.
his work could be very quick
Yeah.
when he did it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the misconceptions about mesmerism is people believe that you can just look at somebody, pass your hands over them, and they're in that deep Esdale trance like that.
No.
You've got to work with people a lot. So
Yeah.
all the demonstrations I've seen on YouTube, they're with people that they've had some work with before. They're people that they've either had in their clinic or in their schools that they have done mesmeric work
Yeah,
with.
it's just the same thing for us as we're using the hypnosis to get to Esdale. It's in the moment there is no suggestion, but there is pre-suggestion and there's teaching about it. And if I teach a client to do birthing with there, I have to train them. It's not something that happens it can happen in the moment and learn it, but for them to be able to utilize it themselves, they definitely have to learn how to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
But elements of it can work very quickly, but it's layered. So you can feel the energy and you can shift some energy or balance some energy, but you're not getting that trance with it.
Mm-hmm.
Just as I said, you can project some intention. I can't look at you and think of a color and have you guess it straight away because that's a little bit more difficult. But if I send a positive vibe to you, you're going to feel relaxed and positive.
Yeah.
If I've got an intention for you to stop smoking, not that Inez smokes, but if you're a client that I had that, and I'm talking to you for an hour, I'm projecting that's going to sink in of that energy of that, not the fact that a little bit through it I might break out of that presence and think, oh crap, I've got to make sure I get some milk on the way home today. And then back in the session, they're not going to go, I need milk. I need milk. Why do I need milk? I don't drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's always misconceptions in how to get, but in hypnosis and in any kind of healing at all, that self-healing, any kind of healing, there's intent involved, and it's really the cleaner the intent,
Yes.
Yeah, and the more focused you become with the intent, which is what you say about them thinking about what I have to get on for dinner.
Yeah.
So, and hypnosis is the same. You want to stay present with the client. You want to be there, and you want to be present. What people today call, which I don't quite totally understand, is what they call holding the space.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of different meanings to that. So I've heard it
Okay.
used a lot, and people usually when they use that phrase, they're saying, well, they've got an environment where they make it safe for the person to talk. I actually do hold space energetically every time I do group work, if it's a class or a meditation or something like that where there's multiple people gathered. I actually do hold the whole room in energy. So I'll put on a few meditations a month, and people do notice they go a little bit deeper or they get a little bit more relaxed in those meditations than they would in others. And I've had quite a few people come up to me saying, I've meditated for 60 years and I haven't had that effect. What was the difference? Because I was holding that group with that intention and the energy for them to relax and shift that.
That's mesmerism. And what else is there other uses for mesmerism than that?
Well, the whole bit of it can be used cross with everything. So everything I do has an element of that, but a huge bit of that is based on that presence. So I think presence is the best thing that people can adapt for any part of their life. Yes. So if you want to be a great sports person, they talk about getting in the flow. Yes. If you want to be great at business, if you want to be great at hypnosis, if you want to be great at just being a good human, meditation helps for all those things. And presence, you build that up by getting used to being in that meditative state of having your mind quiet or just having a single focus. And the single pointed awareness is what really makes mesmerism happen. And so in a sense, if you can master that, then you can really master life in every single way.
It's true. That I think that really makes it, when you learn how to be present, it stills the mind at the same time, or which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. But it's just like the guy that builds laser and quantum lasers, he talks about still point. And that's just presence. It's being in presence, it's being quiet, right? The mind quieting. And it doesn't mean that you go into, I've already explained this to them. I'm constantly saying that going into trance, going into hypnosis is as natural as breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's used every day, even if you don't think you use it. So when you become to learn how to be present like that, and mesmerism, that training he talks about, allows you to have that skill.
And the interesting thing about it, when I give an energy healing, when people are just laying down, they can have a lot of monkey mind chatter, and they can make a point that doesn't turn off. But while I've got that no mind state, and I'm just being in the moment, feeling their energy and helping rebalance it, I quite often have people say, it was weird. My mind stopped for a little bit. It was actually quiet. And so that does transfer in an element that it helps train their mind to have that stillness.
Because
and
you
that
have
quiet.
the skill and the intention when it's intended at them. They actually can learn the skill for even fleeting moments.
Yeah. But some of that they're in trance, and some of it they're not. So I generally, unless somebody's booked in for mesmerism, I'm not going to take them to that trance state with it. But I'm not noticing signs of a deep trance, but they're still saying afterwards, well, I felt that quietness. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, and I think, many of us think that hypnosis, and I've been teaching that it's everything, but is that, somebody's going to do something to you, which is, of course, wrong. Well, he creates the space for people to access it, right, by doing the mesmerism, but you're not doing it for them.
No.
You are opening that up for them.
Yeah, with mesmerism, you're opening up and you're balancing the energy that's there so that their thoughts can get back in line with their higher self, their super consciousness,
whatever you
to realign into what they actually came here for.